Good Packer Nation morning, Packer Nation. Yeah, how you doing? Guess what? It's Friday, guys. So yeah, jump on. Let me know who you are, where you're coming at me from. We are about to talk about the Packers' opportunity, not just to beat the Bears, which is great, not just to continue the winning streak, which is great, but also to tie up the series overall against the Bears. Since 1933, this series has not, the Bears have been ahead in this series since 1933. That's like over 80 years that the Bears have dominated this series. Drip is here, Brent is here, Oscar is here. Guess what, guys? We've got a chance to tie it up, I think 93 to 93 games with 6 ties in this series. It's been since 1993. I caught it on Packers Unscripted, and I just had to relay that information. I love Wes and Mike, and for crying out loud, what an amazing statistic. And it's time, guys. We had our chance last Thanksgiving with freaking Brett Favre there, Bart Starr there. Hey, Tom, Reese, Kirk, and Billy Joe is here. Everybody was there, and we failed to do it. So we dropped two games down again. Then we came back this year, of course. We've already beaten the Bears one time. Now we got to travel to Soldier Field. The weather is going to be abysmal, it looks. Bitterly cold. But this is the Packers' chance to tie this series up. How great would that be? Hi there, Mike. Hey, Ronnie. Good to see you. Joey is here as well. He says, hi, E1. So I guess that means hi, everyone. So that's pretty cool, actually. I might have to use that. Eric is here from Melbourne. Is that how you pronounce it? Australia. Says, go, Pat, go. Where's my friend, my other Australian friend, Jared Dixon? I saw you on late yesterday. I saw your name come across. Virginia says, the curse of Brett. Oh, no. Maurice is here. Okay, guys, I got to give some shout-outs. I was going to call up the Fire Fan leaderboard because the top 10 went crazy. I got knocked down to 8th. You guys were smacking me all over the court, although I will say I fell asleep in Thursday Night Football, okay? I have to admit, it is an excuse, yes. Brent is here. Bruno is here. Sherry is here from North Carolina. I'm just up the road from you, Sherry. In Johnson City, northeast Tennessee. So Joshua, Stacy, Shannon, good to see you guys. All right, folks. This is a big matchup. Now, it is Prediction Friday. Don't put your predictions up just yet. We want to do them all in one segment so everybody can comment on everybody's prediction. And then I'm going to make mine. And then you guys can emoji me your response because sometimes I make some crazy predictions. Fidel is back. Hey there, buddy, from Saudi Arabia. All right, good to see you, my friend. And I hope things are going. I bet you're warmer than we are right now. It's a little chilly even in Johnson City, but up in Chicago, it might be minus 20 by the time all's said and done. And that, when you hit that minus 20 mark with the wind chill, that's when even the locals start to fade indoors and drink soup and coffee and things like this. Even us locals, and I still consider myself a local. I'll never be anything but a Wisconsin boy. Trent has a bold prediction out there. He predicts it will be cold. So you can like that comment because that's pretty, cheeky. If you knew Trent, it wouldn't surprise you. But yes, it will be cold. I am with you on that bold prediction. He's hedging his bet, all right? We'll see how you do on your real prediction later on, all right? Okay, guys, I want to run down. Now, here's something that you're going to be interested in, okay? Because what I did, I went and I want to lay out head-to-head Packers versus Bears rankings right now. Now, I know some of the rankings like defense overall. I'm going to break it down a little bit more because defense overall is basically based on overall yards given up per game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I broke it down a little bit for you, and I want to present these to you before we do our predictions, okay? I want you to have this information first, all right? Because frankly, it was very telling to me, and like I like to do, I like to let statistics I like to look at them all and see what jumps out at me. A few things jumped out. Let's see if anything jumps out at you. Any more news on Rodgers? I saw that comment come across. He didn't participate. Rodgers is going to play. I think the main key, like I said yesterday, is going to be limiting Rodgers' mobility. And I think, you can game plan to that to some extent, but to some extent, it's got to be in Aaron's mind that, listen, I need to stay put. Even if it means a negative play, that's better right now than me getting hurt or not being able to get ahead of this injury. Gustavo is here from Tijuana. Good to see you on board, man. I hope you enjoy the show. I haven't seen your name come across before necessarily. I'm sure you may have been here before. But I wanted to give you a shout out. Jared is here and says g'day to everybody. All right, we already got predictions rolling up. Don't put them up just yet because listen to this, guys. All right, here's the rankings in points per game. Let's start with the offensive side of the board. Points per game. Packers are scoring on average 25.6 points per game. Now, of course, we know that game against the Seattle Seahawks has been one of the big ones out there, and that amped up our average. Before that, we were having a little difficulty scoring, but we are now ranked 7th in the league. We're a top 10 offense in points per game. Bears, on the other hand, 17 points per game. That's good for 30th in the league. Now, that's one of the stats that jumped out at you, doesn't it? All right? Well, let's keep going, all right? Yards per game on offense overall, Packers are gaining about 357.9 yards per game. That is 12th in the league, just a shade. Again, practically top 10 we're talking about there. And I think if you add to the fact that we are now building our running back situation, our ground game is starting to bounce back, we are probably legitimately be considered we could legitimately be considered, one of these top 10 offenses in that regard as well. Bears are looking at 344 yards per game. That's good for 17th. Not a big spread there. The Bears are better than their record looks in that regard. How about pass yards per game? Of course, we know Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback, and that makes all the difference in the world. 259.3 yards per game. That's good for 10th. We are a top 10 offense. And we know that the trend, because again, if you're looking at these averages, you also have to factor in from Packer Nation's point of view, we know how this season has gone, and we were struggling on offense early in the season, like we did last year. It was very similar, was it not? So the Packers now are good for 10th in pass yards per game. The Bears, though, are gaining 242.8 yards a game. Even with the quarterback situation, that's good for 17th. It's middle of the road, middle of the pack. But it's not as bad as their record might seem. So let's move on. Rush yards per game. Of course, we know the Packers have struggled with any kind of running game. We have struggled to figure out who our running backs are. But can I get a heart out there? Is it not good to know that we are finally figuring out what our running game is? It is not an Eddie Lacy running game. He will not be back. However, we have an Aaron Ripkowski on our team who is becoming a real player. We have Ty Montgomery, who is one of these converted wide receiver to running back who is just truly out there making a difference. A smart player, a hard-nosed player, but a really, really smart running back with great vision and an extremely fluid, athletic guy who runs about 220, by the way. And then now with Aaron Rodgers sort of immobilized in one sense, we are looking at a running back situation. If Kristen Michael can get in and start to give us that traditional push, with maybe Aaron Ripkowski as a lead block in such situations, we know that this Packers rush offense can gain some more yards. We're now 22nd in the league. The Bears, though, only 101.3 yards per game. That's good for 20th. So again, no one stands out in the rush yard situation, which isn't that important. And isn't it important for the Packers to take a step forward in this game because of the weather, right? We're going to be playing away. We're going to be playing, and it's possibly not just going to be cold, but be extremely windy, perchance, come Sunday. That running game needs to continue to take a step forward. If we can start having, and I don't care what the combination is, we're not going to have a 100-yard rusher, I don't think, for a very long time. Virginia says Ty is the future. Honestly, Virginia, I feel like, okay, guys, emoji me your thoughts. We're going to take a break. That's the offensive stats. The one that really jumps out at you is the fact that the Packers can score more points than the Chicago Bears right now. But let me ask you this, and this is, I don't want to sound like I'm taking anything at all away from Ty Montgomery, okay? But when I think of Ty as the future, I think of Ty and somebody. Does anybody else out there, and it's nothing against Ty Montgomery, but when I think of the future, I think of Ty Montgomery and somebody, that there's somebody that we need. We need a couple of guys. and not necessarily a running back by committee situation, but I really feel positive if we can put an Aaron Ripkowski and a solid traditional running back. He wouldn't have to be a bell cow back, but but a guy like Christine Michael, to me, sounds like a good fit. And Ty Montgomery. I feel like there's Ty Montgomery and somebody else. Okay? And I know everybody, guys, I don't know how you feel, but I'm excited about Christine Michael being on this team. I know what everybody else out there is saying, oh, he freaking blew it he's been lackluster because he hasn't really shown anything. He can't even get the playbook right. Well, let me ask a few questions to all the people who have concerns about Christine Michael because he can't learn a playbook. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever learned an NFL offense in 3 weeks before? If so, then yeah, Christine Michael should have everything figured out in 3 weeks as well. Yes, he gets paid to do it. Here's the argument. Oh, it's just a language difference. It's just a language difference. They're all the same plays. They're just a language difference. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever learned a new language in 3 weeks? I am excited to have Christine Michael on this team, and I expect, and I am predicting, that he will be the 2010 James Starks of this team. Because frankly, without him, we only have the 2016 James Starks. And that would have me concerned. Michael, on the other hand, I thought showed me a lot. I think the offensive line likes to block for this guy. I think they're excited to block for this guy. And I think a balance between Ty Montgomery, the starter, Christine Michael, who is not going to be necessarily the starter, won't be the starter, but then but he will, if he can be a back that comes in there and shows a little something, is a little bit of a difference maker. Then add to that Ripkowski. I think that bodes well for our team. I think our offense, I think this number jumps over 100. I think we average 100 yards per game. With that mix, one way or the other, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how we get it done, but it is going to be important to get our running game back moving forward for many reasons. Obviously, number one, this is the game of football. Every offense wants to be able to run the ball. Number two, it's December. It's playoff football. The running game becomes important, especially if you have to manage the clock from time to time. What better way to do it than to have a solid running game? Number three, it will help us in our third down situation. We know, does anybody out there remember how difficult the kind of difficulty this offense can have, the kind of struggles it can have when we're constantly looking at 3rd and 8+ yards? And number four, and this may be the most important one of all, it helps us keep and get Aaron Rodgers healthy for the future. So that's the offensive statistics, guys, head to head. It's not quite as far away. It's not quite as wide as a margin as I thought it was between the Packers and the Bears. Other than, of course, we can score points better than the Bears have been able to in the past. All right. How about the defensive side of the ball then quickly? All right. Defense, points per game, we're giving up an average of about 24. That's good for 21st in the league. We have been giving up points, but also we know the run that we're on right now. 13-13-10, that's our run. And the Bears have only averaged 17 points no matter who they played. I think that bodes well for our defense. Again, this game, I think the weather may be a factor, but the Bears are, averaging, giving up, 22.3 points a game. That's good for 15th. Again, what is the trend? I think the Packers' trend is very, very high. We are starting to truly come into our own as a defensive team, I think. The Bears, on the other hand, they are not a bad defensive team in terms of points given up. Now, I wish I had the breakdown between home and away on that because this is a team that we have to play on their home turf, all right? Yards per game given up, we're giving up about 347.7. That's 13th, which is just a shade out of the top 10. Bears 22.3, which is 15th. So again, we are not too far apart in that. We're both teams that play that sort of bend but don't break kind of defense. and neither team is bad at keeping opponents out of the end zone. Not too bad, but I think the Packers defense is definitely the one that's trending in the right direction. We are trending top 10 right now. Pass yards per game, we're giving up 251.5. That's 19th. Of course, we know we've done a better job of late in that regard as well. As long as the pressure continues, we do better. This is a Dom Capers defense. We are going to give up some pass yards through the air because we play a lot of nickel and dime coverage. Again, looking for those interceptions, which we started to get the last 3 weeks. All right. Bears, on the other hand, giving up 219.5 yards per game, which is good for 6th in the league. Now that tells you that this Packer team, now if you look at where we are strongest, we're strongest at scoring. We're also strongest in passing yards per game, where we far outshine the Bears, and that is where their weakness lies. That is what concerns me at the same time, though, if it is windy in the Windy City, okay? So that could be a challenge for the Packers in this game. How about rush yards per game? We are 10th in the league, giving up only 96.2. Of course, we know we were first in the league until we hit those doggone Dallas Cowboys. But we are still a top 10 defense in that regard. We gave up 67 yards to Rawls in the game against the Seahawks. However, we were able to pop the ball out and get that final fumble for victory formation. We still did some good things. We had Morgan Burnett making plays, not just at a walked up safety, not just at a safety in the backfield, single high safety, but also at inside linebacker in this game. Morgan Burnett is a guy that I did not give enough credit to because we talked about Ty Montgomery being a wide receiver, playing the running back position, who became a running back. Now, the same is not going to be true of Morgan Burnett. He is not going to become an inside linebacker, but when we need him, he showed proficiency. Holding Jimmy Graham to just one catch of 16 yards, I believe, and that was a catch in garbage time. Morgan Burnett, I did not give enough credit to. I should have mentioned him specifically because he needs a lot of love out there, basically. All right. So rush yards per game, we're top 10. Bears are giving up 107.1. That's for 19th. So again, if our running game can improve, it can be a real key matchup in this game, okay? So, folks, and Peter is saying love Morgan Burnett out there. And I know there's a lot of folks out there. You can mash that heart button right now. If you love Morgan Burnett and what he's doing for this team, if we remember how much of a struggle it was for this Green Bay defense to hold good tight ends in check. We had a problem with that early on. I think Morgan Burnett is our solution. Again, I hope we can see more of Jake Ryan out on the field. But if Morgan Burnett can hold down that side of things, it's going to really boost our defense. And of course, we know that beautiful interception that he had against Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham fell down. Didn't matter. Morgan Burnett broke on that ball. He said I kind of knew what knew what route I thought he was going to run. And I also knew that the coaches tell me, if you undercut one, you better get your hands on that ball. And he did. And then he returned it like 20 yards after that. All right. Maurice says, HaHa's going to have another pick. That would be great. And it would not be a surprise. Love my HaHa Clinton Dix. I love our safety tandem right now. Folks. All right, well, it is Friday. It is your day to jump on in here. What are your picks and predictions for Sunday's game against the Bears? Is it going to be a blowout? Is it going to be a close one? Are the Packers going to continue to be dominant? Are they going to stumble a little bit? It is an NFC North rivalry game. It is the longest standing rivalry in the NFL. Continuous, and I am interested in watching this game because there is no way the Packers can afford to take their foot off the gas. No way at all. And we've got nothing but NFC North on the way out. All right. John says 41-13. Keegan says 42-17. Marcus has got 35-10 pack. Daniel says 30-16. I missed one up at the top. Feel free to repeat it. Eric says 24-0. Packers over the Bears. Trevor says 21-17. Sean 24-6. Raymond 45-10 with a big one. John Smith says 21-6 Pack. Otis says ground and pound 24-13. I'd be just fine with that, Otis. Albisa 17-6. Packers. Another low-scoring affair. Jeff says, this is our breakout rushing game, 28-10. With a big ground game, I'd be okay with that too. Kirk says 16-9, and Peter Vargas says 45-9 Packers. Adam's got the Packers 28-7. He's got Devontae and Jordy going to get 150-plus combined yards and a touchdown apiece. All right, nice. Bold prediction in the wind, and it may settle down. Who knows? Tim says 21-13. Silas says 31-14 Pack. And Lyle with 19-9 Packers. Heather 14-21 Pack, 21-14 in that case. Virginia says 21-10. And Wayne says 24-10 Packers. Mike has got us dropping a 50 burger. That's a good, bold prediction, and that's a good place for me to put in my prediction, guys. I really think offensively, this Packers coaching staff look at the situation, guys, the last couple of games. The Packers coaching staff has wanted to limit Aaron Rodgers, but they have not forced a running game. So they've still made sure Aaron Rodgers had plenty of passes. First series against the Seahawks, Aaron Rodgers rolls out, completes a beautiful pass to Davante Adams. Touchdown. And in that play, he hurts his left calf, or whichever one it is. The opposite one he hurt last year. So now he has two injuries. He's got a hamstring on one hand and on one leg and a calf on the other. I think the Packers coaching staff is concerned that not only can they cannot limit, when they call pass plays, they cannot limit what Aaron Rodgers does. The only way they can truly limit what Aaron Rodgers does is to run the ball. So one thing I expect this coaching staff to do is run the ball. Now, again, I said yesterday, if I was going to sort of try to write a script for this game, it would start with throwing over the Bears' pressure, with Aaron Rodgers under center, or just a quick pass out of the shotgun formation, maybe go to that pistol formation as well. That gives him a little bit of a look, but also gives him the opportunity to hand the ball off. I would like to see the pistol formation come back. But I don't know that that's going to be the way it happens. I think it may be that, if you listen to the show, you know that this has concerned me. I am afraid that the coaching staff is going to, and Mike McCarthy are going to try to force a running game that isn't there. Now, what I hope is they get in there, they get Kristen Michael behind Aaron Ripkowski, they start bruising this Bears defense, even though really we would be sort of going into the teeth of the defense, really throwing over them. Their defensive backfield is a mess. But I hope that we go back there, we get Kristen Michael behind Aaron Ripkowski and those fantastic offensive linemen that we have, Bakhtiari, Lane Taylor, Corey Lindsley, TJ Lang, who has just played a phenomenal game, a plus game in a game where he was just coming back from injury. And then, add to that Brian Bulaga, who's been able to stay healthy, knock on wood, and is playing fantastic ball. If we can do that, number one, I hope we start out, I think we're going to, I don't hope, but I think we're going to start out just running the ball, ground and pound game, because I think that wind is going to absolutely be a factor in this game. I think we're not going to be wanting to rely on kicking field goals in this game, which we never want to do. I don't think we're going to want to rely on Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball long in this game in particular. And that's where, we had the prediction for Jordy and Davante Adams each to have, to have 150 combined and a touchdown each. Could still happen. But I see the Packers coaching staff is not wanting to fly up there to throw the ball out there too much, because they're number one, they're not going to want to have Aaron Rodgers in jeopardy that much. Trent Scott, 24-10 Packers. Chad's Creed Thomas has 24-10 Packers as well. So I see the Packers wanting to pound the ball, and I have nothing against that. I hope that they don't force it if they don't succeed, because, again, I think we can have a lot of success in the short passing game. Jared Cook was a full participant in practice. I think we might have dodged a bullet with him. I think we might see him out on the field. Peter has a bold prediction that Brett Hundley's going to throw a touchdown. That would, there's two ways that prediction could go. It could be a very bad one because Aaron Rodgers gets hurt and has to go out. And Brett Hundley throws a touchdown. Or it could be goes along with your prediction, so I know that's where you're headed. We are up so much that we put Brett Hundley in. And I would love to see that. No problem at all with that, okay? However, I think this Packers, I think we're going to score over 30. I think if we don't score over 30, it isn't the kind of statement we want to make against a team like the Bears. I would not be surprised, though, if this game is closer than it looks like on paper. The beauty of it all, I think, is that this Packers team has showed itself lately to be a team that can get in the end zone. You know, we were moving the ball from time to time, but then we would stall out in points. So I think the Packers are going to score 35 in this game. Depending on what the defense does, that might be enough in the fourth quarter to be able to pull Aaron Rodgers if the game is out of hand. We would need to be at that 35 range, but we would have to hold the Chicago Bears probably to, barely double digits, that 10-point range. Will the Packers do that against the Bears? It's a good question. I think we will. I mean, the Bears they struggle to score points. And what are the Packers good at? We're good at keeping teams out of the end zone. We play that bend, don't break kind of thing. I think the Packers get 2 turnovers in this game. I think that contributes to the 35 points. And part of the reason I'm picking in the mid-30s rather than dropping a 40 burger is because I think we have a chance to pull Aaron Rodgers out of this game. Now, if our defense falters, that is off the table completely. However, I think this defense can hold the Bears to barely double digits. I will give them 10 points in this game. Time to write it down. Put it on the board. Packers 35, Bears 10. That's my pick, folks. What do you think? Am I crazy? Yeah, Harold's saying it's too cold to score that high. Running will win this thing. And that's really how, where I'm kind of at. Now, I do think if it's cold but the wind is not there like they expect it to be, this is what it did up at Lambeau for the Seahawks game. On Thursday, the wind was absolutely, if any of you saw me go live from Lambeau, the wind was absolutely howling there. On Thursday, it was dead. It was dead as could be. The wind was not a factor. We will say, Marie says, we're all crazy. We cheapheads. I completely agree. Totally agree with you. Martin says 35-14 Packers, 113 Packers. Son is out there with a 24-13 Packers prediction. And says divisional is always hard. And I agree with that. I think that this is going to be one of those games where, this is one of those games that it could really prove that we are on the right track. The Seahawks game was our prove-it game, without a doubt. That's the marquee game that we've been looking for all season, right? I mean, I think all of you probably agree with that. But again, we know that we've got a stretch of NFC North rivalry games. This is the one where there's a lot on the line. Historically, again, if you didn't catch it, the Packers have not been tied with the Bears in this series since 1933, guys. The Bears have been ahead for 80 years. The Bears have been ahead in this series for longer than most series have existed in the league. Virginia says she doesn't see us breaking 30 points with the wind, and I think that is a possibility. Then again, I'm hopeful that our ground and pound attack has several, say, 5-minute drives, but we're able to punch it in at the end, and by the time we're done, maybe we have that 1 or 2 shot plays. I think Jared Cook, if he plays, could play a big part in this game because he offers that short passing option. Of course, when we've seen what Jordy Nelson could do when they line him up in the slot, he ends up on a linebacker. Are you kidding me? So I think we get 1 or 2 shot plays in this game. I can see Jordy Nelson going for 1. Again, like was mentioned earlier, I can see Devontae Adams possibly going for 1. But I don't see us playing this shot play game. I think that we run the ball. And I think the Packers win this one, breaking 30, hopefully. I think if we break 30, I'm very happy with what we've done against the Bears at Soldier Field. This is a team that gave the Lions everything they could handle. And they weren't playing at home, so this game could be closer than it seems like on paper. Roger says 24-17 Packers. DM says 27-3 Packers, and it won't even look close. I would love to see that. Peter's got a bold prediction. Mike Daniels with 2 sacks. We gave some props to Mike Daniels. I need to do a post on Mike Daniels alone. This guy is just blowing it up. And the Bears' offensive line has been serviceable of late. That has been one of their bugaboos for several years now. But I think this coaching staff, and look at John Fox. I mean, he's a guy that has shown he can beat the Packers at home. This is a problem. We need to right that because you look at the, again, I talked about the fact the series has not been tied since 1933, but you look at the Brett Favre and the Aaron Rodgers era, and the Packers have had the Bears' number of late. And of late, I mean back, which is a long of late, all the way back through the time that Brett Favre played for the Packers. But you got new coaching staff. There's a new attitude. I've got to give a lot of credit to this coaching staff. These guys have put together, they've had some injury issues too. And they are a rebuilding team. And they have played some good football out there, and they played better of late. They're better than their record shows. And the Packers need to deal with them squarely. And I think that comes with Harold is asking, I think that comes with our running game developing, continuing to improve. Harold is asking if Sitton is still with him. Oh, yeah. And he's healthy. This is going to be the first game. And this is a great point. I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to mention this. We're going to see Sitton v. Daniels in this game from time to time. And it is going to be interesting because Mike Daniels, this is a guy that he cut his teeth on great guards like TJ Lang and Josh Sitton. Well, now he's going to be playing with him head-to-head. Last game, Sitton was injured, could not go. This game, which again, that sort of says that maybe Thompson was right. You got to give the guy credit when he's right. He saved us a lot of money, and Lane Taylor has been an absolutely a great player at the left guard position. And Josh Sitton in the first game when we played him head-to-head could not go. Well, he's going to go this time around. So this is going to be another opportunity for Mike Daniels to show that we Packers are better than ye Bears. All right. Jerry's saying, I heard that if the Lions win or the 49ers win, we are out. No, that's not the case because if we win out, and I mean, the Lions can win this week, lose, they would have to then drop the next two, which includes the next two for them are the Giants and the Cowboys. I expect them to drop their one right now. Anybody else out there? I mean, I think we pulled this yesterday. Who thinks the Bears are going to stand up to that? I think it's the Giants this time and then the Cowboys next week. All right, let me phrase it this way. Put up a thumbs up if you think the Lions are losing this week. Or a heart. Trent put up a heart. Heart me. Put up a thumbs up. I think we did it yesterday as well, but I think we need to see this happen. We would like to see it this week, right now. Let's get it off the table and let the Packers know that all they have to do is finish up strong with the last two games. We take care of business against the Bears. The Lions drop against the Giants. Giants are a trending team right now. I think their record is off the roof. We have beat the Giants already. We know we can beat them. Want to see the Lions drop this game this week. Let's not wait on it. And I want to see the Packers get their business done because this is not going to be it's not going to be a walk in the park against the Bears. I don't think. I know, we've had the comments not even going to look tough. Make it look easy. That's fine. That would be great. But I think we're gonna take care of business. And of course, we'll all be watching that Lions game as well. So, all right, folks. Well, we have gotten your prediction. You have got mine. When I saw the comment comes across every week, it doesn't even matter what the score is. Let's just win this game. All right. Now, I will say this: if the Packers win this one, but barely have to kick a field goal or something to win it, again, it might. You look at that, and it's going to highlight some concerns moving forward. We'll see how that goes. But we want this team to continue to be dominant. I think Mike Daniels is going to be active again. I hope Clay Matthews continues to get healthier because as he gets healthier, he's been playing better. A couple of weeks ago, he just was not himself. Our defensive backfield coming around, starting to get those interceptions, that's key. And then you look at our offense. If our running game continues to improve and can be a 100-plus yard running game with whatever mix we've got, and add to that, I know a couple comments through the Jeff Janis jet sweep. Go ahead and add that in there. I think this offense can be off the charts. I think it can be the kind of offense we thought we would have with Eddie Lacy as the ground and pound guy and the rest of the guys that we knew we had around him. Well, now we're starting by hook and by crook. We've put together a running situation that is a real headache. And I mentioned this yesterday. I do believe, and you guys, you can agree with me or not, but I do believe this offense became better when we lost our 2 starting running backs. Because we would never have seen Ty Montgomery in this role. We would never have found out what he could do. And Martin is saying our defense has grown and will continue to grow, and I agree. And it's going to be great to see. Because, and who are some of the guys you might highlight in that, Martin? How about Dean Lowry, who got another sack against the Seahawks? I think he had a couple hurries as well. How about guys like Jake Ryan, second-year player? If he can get in there and be healthy, we might get Blake Martinez back, who's been playing well as a rookie. They're starting to come into their own, and it could be dangerous. Jared's mentioning Lowry. So, folks, we've got an exciting game coming up. This is an exciting Sunday coming up. This could be a big one. This could be, the Seahawks game was our marquee game where we showed we could do it. This week could be the week where it really starts to come into focus that this team now has, like I've said, its hand on the wheel. We've got our hand on the rudder, whatever sport metaphor you want to use for it, that we control our own destiny in this season to close out 2016. Now, one thing we know is they're all NFC North rivalry games, which makes them tough, but it also means we're not facing anyone that we don't know. And I think that's a good thing. I think McCarthy does a good job against, these unknown teams that we have to play, the Giants, the Texans, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the Giants maybe not so much of late. Oh my, we have Tom out there. Jesus, take the wheel. All right. Well, I hope Aaron Rodgers takes the wheel in this one. A higher power would probably be even better than that, I guess, if you think about it. But I would love to see, and in this game, frankly, I would love to see Kristen Michael take the wheel in this game. If we have somebody other than Aaron take the wheel in this game, holy smokes, we'll get Aaron Rodgers healthier, and he'll come back, and we will have the kind of offense that just no one can stop. We are a headache right now. We are a headache right now. Virginia is saying the Seahawks game reminded everybody who we are. And that's right. We are the Packers. We are the Green Bay Packers. We are the historical team. We are the championship team. We're the team with 13 championships. I know the Steelers like to number their Super Bowls as if they're championships. The Super Bowl, I'll say it again, is just a name for a championship. It wasn't even the name of the championship until later, folks. And frankly, the people that know the history of the NFL know that it was the NFL championship before the AFC-NFC split. When the AFC came on and we agreed to play them, it wasn't even a contest against the Vince Lombardi Packers. The real contest was, hey, we got to play the Cowboys the week before, whatever it was. That was the real contest at that point. So the Packers championships not only count, but they show who the best team on the planet is, and that's us. And we need to prove it. We still have a lot to prove in this series. We still have a long way to go. And we still have a lot of road in front of us. This highway, I want it to run all the way right down the center of Houston, folks. And I know we don't want to talk about that. I know that we have to take one game at a time, but I am telling you, every Packer fan out there knows it and wants it, that's where we want to be. The fact that it's one game at a time means, like we've said, you have a chance to show you are a dominant team and you belong. And frankly, we could have a whole conversation about how a game between the Packers and the Cowboys right now might be a very different affair than it was before. Might be a very different affair. So, all right. Well, I'm going to let you go, guys. It's Friday. You can throw a heart up if you are happy for a weekend coming, and another week under your belt. I hope you had a great one. I hope you had nothing to complain about whatsoever this week, but now it's Friday and you can roll on into a weekend. We've got, Packer football coming up. Of course, we had Thursday night football. As soon as you get done with Thursday night football, you're rolling through a Friday, and now it's time for a weekend. So I hope you have a fantastic, wonderful, safe weekend. I appreciate you so much for joining in on the show. I will be back. We'll do a pre-game show just shortly before the Packers take on the Chicago Bears. We have talked about the stats. We have talked about the history of this rivalry. And now it's time to get out on the field and for this Packer team to show that they are on a path that runs over everybody in the NFC North. We want to take this thing. Let's watch these Lions fall finally. They have been asking for it. Let's watch these Lions fall finally this weekend, and our Packers continue to shine against the Bears at Soldier Field. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you again Sunday, just a shade before the afternoon game rolls around for us to enjoy the Packers with a big win against the Bears. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Go Pack.